All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we're unpacking an event that literally reshaped modern history, September 11th. But, we aren't just here to recount the undeniable facts of that tragic morning. We're actually going to go down the rabbit hole a bit. We're going to unpack the incredible psychological phenomenon of the conspiracy theories that followed, specifically looking at documentaries like Loose Change, and really try to discover why so many people actually chose to believe them. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the timeline of the 9/11 attacks, look at the massive cost of loss, and then explore the start of the conspiracy theories. After that, we'll take a deep dive into 3 specific observations, unpack the psychology behind these beliefs, and finally, talk about the scars and moving forward. Let's get into it. Section 1. Timeline of 9/11 attacks, the morning that changed the world. It's still shocking to look back at how fast it all happened. It was just a rapid, devastating sequence of events. At 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 struck the North Tower. Just 17 minutes later, United Airlines Flight 175 hit the South Tower. Then, at 9:37 a.m., a third plane struck the Pentagon, hitting the very heart of U.S. military defense. And finally, at 10:03 a.m., Flight 93 crashed in Pennsylvania. This entire catastrophic sequence was carried out by 19 hijackers, and they were armed with nothing more than basic box cutters. Section 2. Massive cost of loss. Counting the incalculable. The human cost, it was just staggering. The attacks claimed 2,996 lives from 77 different nations. And that tragic number includes 441 courageous first responders who literally ran toward the danger. But the physical toll definitely didn't end that day. The CDC later reported that over 400,000 people were affected by the toxic dust blanketing New York, which led to chronic illnesses and, sadly, subsequent deaths for months and years to come. And the economic impact? Absolutely catastrophic. I mean, the New York controller tried to do the impossible task of estimating the financial value of the lost lives, and they put it at $24 billion. Alongside that, there was an estimated $8 billion in immediate property damage, a massive $60 billion hit to the tourism industry, and a $1.4 trillion plunge in the stock market. The damage is almost incomprehensible. So all of this unimaginable devastation naturally led to a really stark question, one that sparked a global conspiracy movement. Did the US government know in advance? And this very question became the entire foundation for viral internet documentaries like Loose Change. Section 3. Start of conspiracy theories, the search for an alternative narrative. Psychologically, it is incredibly hard for the human mind to accept that an untouchable superpower could be completely crippled by 19 men in a single morning. This kind of cognitive dissonance led individuals, people like Corey Rowe, who was an Iraq War veteran returning traumatized from the resulting conflict and who actually went on to produce Loose Change, to search desperately for alternative explanations. Section 4. Deep dive into 3 observations, exploring the anomalies impartially. Now, the crucial point here is to impartially examine the specific anomalies these theorists point to. We are going to juxtapose their biggest claims directly against the findings of the official investigations. First up, let's talk about Wall Street. Theorists highlight highly unusual stock market betting against the specific hijacked airlines just days prior to the attacks. For example, look at September 6th and 7th. There were 4,700 put options, which is essentially betting a stock will go down, placed on United Airlines. That's compared to just 396 call options. Then, the day before the attacks, a similar massive spike in put options hit American Airlines. Even Citigroup, an insurer of the World Trade Center, saw trading volumes spike 45 times higher than normal. So conspiracy theorists suspect this implies insider knowledge by powerful figures. However, it's important to note that official investigations by the SEC and the FBI concluded that these trades had absolutely no direct links to the hijackers or anyone with advanced knowledge of the plot. Second, there is a massive debate over World Trade Center Building 7. What's wild to a lot of people is that Building 7 was never actually hit by a plane, right? Yet, it collapsed later that afternoon. Side A, the theorists, claim it was a controlled demolition designed to destroy sensitive CIA and Department of Defense offices located inside.
On the other hand, Side B, the official report from the National Institute of Standards and Technology, concludes that the collapse was due to 7 hours of uncontrolled fires ignited by flaming debris from the falling Twin Towers, which ultimately caused the building's steel support structure to fail. Third, let's look at United Airlines Flight 93. Side A argues that the U.S. military executed an order from Vice President Dick Cheney to shoot the plane down to prevent it from hitting the Capitol or the White House, and that the government basically fabricated a story to cover it up. Side B, the official, heavily documented record, which is supported by cockpit voice recorders, shows the passengers, having heard about the other crashes via phone calls, heroically revolted. They fought the hijackers, forcing the plane to crash into an empty field in Pennsylvania, saving countless lives. Section 5. Psychology behind beliefs. Why do we need a villain? When you actually look at the data, it's pretty eye-opening. A 2006 poll by Scripps Howard showed that a staggering 36% of Americans surveyed believed their own government had some level of involvement, or at least knowingly allowed the tragedy to happen. I mean, that is a massive portion of the population questioning the fundamental narrative of the most heavily broadcasted event in modern history. But hey, this widespread belief didn't just appear out of thin air. It was fueled by a deep, growing mistrust. In the years following 9/11, the Bush administration's claims about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq turned out to be false, and the grueling 20-year war on terror left a lot of people feeling exhausted and lied to. When public trust in government drops like that, it creates incredibly fertile ground for alternative theories to take root and spread like wildfire. Psychologically speaking, this acts as a coping mechanism for all of us. Think about it. To the human mind, it is sometimes actually more comforting to believe that a powerful, highly organized entity is in control, even if they're evil, than to accept the terrifying reality that the world is just chaotic and that profound trauma can be inflicted randomly by a small group of individuals. Section 6. Scars and moving forward. The undeniable reality of pain. Out of the ashes, humanity has continually attempted to heal and rebuild. You can really see this resilience in the towering new One World Trade Center, built to a highly symbolic height of 1,776 feet. Down at Ground Zero, a solemn memorial and museum now stand, carefully preserving over 35,000 artifacts, from personal belongings to massive pieces of structural steel, all to ensure the world never forgets the individuals who are lost. So I want to leave you with this final thought. While these grand theories might help some minds cope with the unimaginable, the physical scars of that Tuesday morning and the 2 decades of war that followed are permanent. It leaves us to constantly ask, how does a society ever truly heal from mass tragedy?